Welcome to Be Well. I'm Lisa Burgaw, pharmacist, yoga teacher, and health coach. Each week, we'll explore simple, science-informed ways for us to move better, feel more resilient, and feel more at home in our bodies. From breath work and strength training to sleep, hormones, and healthy habits, we're here to help you age well and truly thrive, one small step at a time. This is Be Well. Hi, it's Lisa Burgaw, and this is Be Well. And today I have my friend Heather Mislivets-Ahern here, and she is the Fire Safety Program Manager at Millstone Dominion. But she's also going to talk to us today about fire safety in our homes. And I thought it was really an important and timely topic because as we move into summertime, people are going to start maybe grilling more outside and perhaps having some, like fire pits or hanging around the fire outside. So I thought it was really timely. And it's great to have these little tips and tricks ahead of time instead of trying to scramble when there is an emergency. And so fire safety is so important. She thought it was going to be really boring, but as we've been talking and preparing, I think it's really fascinating. And there's a lot of really great tips that she has to share with us. So welcome, Heather. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So tell us a little bit about how you got into fire safety. And I know you've done so many different things. You've been an EMT. So we met in your EMT role, right? I was working the pharmacy, the vaccine clinics during COVID.
At Foxwoods.
At Foxwoods,
I was with Mashantucket Fire Department for 20 years.
Wow.
As a firefighter and a captain over there.
Amazing.
And before that, I volunteered for a fire department. I started as a kid. My parents were in the fire department. And I had some friends that were in the fire department. So
great. That's so great.
just
And you're certified as a fire marshal.
I am. I just got my fire marshal certification a few years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And so, and you're part of the team that helps keep Millstone safe, which I'm very grateful for because it's right across the bay from me.
Yeah, me too.
So I want to make sure that things are all good there.
Yep.
And you were explaining some of the things that you do over there, making sure there's not combustibles around, things are cleaned up, and the detectors are all working. But that really translates to our homes too. I mean, that's a bigger scale, but it's really important to keep our homes safe too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you. And when we were talking off camera ahead of time, you were talking about things have changed so much. Like some of the more common things that we have in our homes weren't there before, or like the synthetics that are in our homes.
Yep.
So you said that we used to worry about homes burning down because of wood, and now it's more of the synthetics and they burn faster.
Much faster.
Yeah, so tell me more about that.
You used to have, 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to get out of a house. Now you have to be out of a house in minutes.
Yeah.
Just because the synthetic materials are burning so much faster.
Go up so much faster.
Yep.
And so if your fire alarm does go off, you don't go collecting all your things. You just go.
Yes, get out immediately.
Yeah.
There's no time.
Yeah. All right.
And make sure someone calls 911
Call
right
911,
away.
yeah. And have a plan, right? Like when my kids were in elementary school, we used to have, they'd come home from school and we'd have the evacuation plan and they'd be like, we have to practice this, it's our homework.
Yep.
And I think that's important to keep doing, like to have a plan, like what happens if the alarm goes off? Who's gonna call 911 and then get to your space and make sure everybody's safe.
Now, fortunately, everybody has a cell phone.
Yeah.
But if you don't have your phone, don't go running back inside to get it.
Okay, good.
Get
Because your
out
phone
right
could be
away.
the cause of that fire,
It
right? You talked about
could.
lithium batteries.
Yep.
We're going to talk more about that in a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the EDITH, the exit drills in the home, are something that we teach kids in fire prevention, and they need to practice it. The more they practice, the more comfortable they'll be, and less likely to go and hide under a bed or in a bathtub or a closet.
I was telling Heather a story off camera when years and years ago, we had some work done in the house and we had some drywall and there was a lot of dust. And so the dust was around in the smoke detector. And when the heat would turn on or off, like at 2 o'clock in the morning, the pressure would shift and the alarm would go off. And we were hardwired to the fire department, so the fire trucks would show up, and this was happening on the regular. And my husband had surgery this day, and so he was totally out of it, and the alarm went off, and he went to the thermostat, and he's pushing buttons on the thermostat. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm turning off the alarm, but he wasn't off the alarm. So this was just chaos, and the alarm's going, it's really loud, and I don't want the fire trucks to come at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm hoping it's not really a fire. So I got the alarm to stop, and then we went looking for the kids, and they're nowhere. They're not in their rooms, and I can't find them. So I'm like, oh, good, they did the Edith. They
What was
went,
your meeting spot?
it's the rock at the end of our driveway. We have a spot, and that's the plan. They weren't there. So now I'm freaking out, and I'm looking all over the place. We found them. They were having a sleepover in one of the boys' rooms in the closet where we store all the extra blankets and pillows. So it was like a little den, like a little nest. And they slept through the whole thing.
Yep.
But what I love that you said, which is new, because they were used to hearing it because it happened enough that they tuned it out, which is dangerous. But tell me what you just said about like the new alarms.
So there are smoke detectors now that you can record your voice or the parent's voice, saying, "Hey, Jack, wake up," or whatever the kid's name is, and that can be more likely to get their attention than just the beeping noise.
Because you can really tune that out.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
But
so they have those.
Take it seriously if it goes off. Right.
And they need to practice. So, make sure it's going to wake them up, whatever the noise is or a recording. And make sure that they know where that meeting location is and how to get there safely. And also just make sure the meeting location isn't too close to the road.
Right.
Because if fire trucks are pulling into your driveway, you don't want somebody getting run over.
Right. Too close to the road and not too close to the house. Right.
A safe spot.
Okay. Yeah. And not to make it scary, but you often don't think about fire safety until there is a tragedy, right? So I feel like I love having you on this episode today because I feel like you have such knowledge about these little tips and tricks that we might not think about, or we might be doing not knowing that it's dangerous. Like at the studio, we use space heaters.
Yep.
And so, I learned this years ago that we plug them into the wall. You never plug a space heater into a power strip because there's just a higher risk for fire. But I was thinking about that because they generate a lot of heat. But you were telling me that anything that produces
any heat producing appliance, a space heater, a coffee pot, an air fryer, a water cooler that uses hot water, a curling iron, any of those should be plugged directly into an outlet in the wall and not into a power strip or an extension cord.
Okay. And what about like piggybacking extension cords to reach across the room?
Don't do that. That's bad.
Right.
Same with power strips. Don't piggyback the power strips.
Right.
And extension cords are really only supposed to be used for temporary use. They're not a permanent solution.
Right.
You should have additional outlets installed in your house by a licensed electrician.
Right. And also, and I don't do this now, but I have in the past where you have a cord run under your carpet, like if you're plugging in the TV and you're plugging in to something else. Don't put it under your carpet, don't cover these cords.
Yep,
right?
Don't cover them, don't coil them up. They can produce heat just from being underneath something and they can overheat.
Right.
And start a fire.
And so frayed cords and what other things would you say to look out for? If you touch it and it's hot when you're unplugging it, that's a concern.
And like you said, frayed cords, or when you go to pull a cord out of the wall, don't just pull the cord out because you can damage the cord that way.
Okay. You don't want to hold it across the room and pull it out like you go up and you gently pull it out.
Make sure that you're using a cord if it has a ground, make sure that ground plug is in there, that you're not pulling it out to make it fit into an older outlet.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big one. And what about the outlet itself? Like, what do you look for to make sure that outlet is safe? You mentioned heat.
Yep. Just obviously make sure there's no sparks coming out of the outlet. Or any black marks around the outlet.
Okay.
That's a sign of an issue, if something like that happens. Call an electrician to come, or if your fuse keeps blowing, there could be an issue with the outlet.
That's good to know.
If you have to keep going down into your basement to reset the panel, then there's an issue with something.
Okay, and so you'd call an electrician for that?
Yep.
Okay. That's
call
good
an
to
electrician, have them come, make sure the outlet's okay.
Okay.
Or it could be the appliance.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just too much for the outlet.
Oh, all right. Yeah, and could it be too like that appliance and too many other things are on that same...
On the same circuit?
The same circuit? Yep. Okay. So moving things around would be good. Yeah, it's terrifying, and I used to, I do have a little OCD, like not clinical, but enough that it used to like be, like it would take away from my day. Like I would leave the house and be like,
Yep.
did I turn off my curling iron? Did I turn off this? Did I turn off the iron? So I started buying things that have automatic shutoffs
Yep.
just in case, but I still make sure that I unplug them all.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
But you're talking about where you could have a couple things plugged into the same circuit, like if you can't use your microwave and air fryer at the same time, if it keeps tripping the circuit, then maybe one of them needs to be moved onto a different circuit.
Okay. Yeah. That's
yeah.
drawing a lot
Yep.
of power, a lot of heat. Yeah. And there's lots of things that, we use so many electronic devices now, and charging our phones. Like you were telling me, like lithium-ion batteries has been a big concern lately.
Yep.
So tell me more about that, because they're in everything.
Well, they make
Your phones.
their fires are very difficult to put out.
Okay.
It's a lot of energy stored in a very small battery.
Yeah.
So, your phones have them, your computer, pretty much everything these days, our little
Right.
smartwatch,
Yeah.
all the e-bikes, e-cigarettes,
Right, right.
all of those have the lithium-ion batteries in them.
Batteries, because they last longer.
Yep,
But you're right, the fire hazard is bigger.
yep.
Okay.
A couple things, you should never charge your lithium-ion phone in your bed.
Good to
A
know.
lot of people stick the charger right in the
yeah.
bed or under the pillow. It can heat up and start a fire.
Right.
And you shouldn't overcharge those things.
Okay.
Some people leave them plugged in forever, and
Right.
there's a certain, when it's fully charged, you shouldn't continue to charge it.
Okay. Yeah, it's not good for the life of the battery
Yeah,
either.
exactly.
Right. And I also notice sometimes when I'm charging something, if I have left it in a little longer, it's warm. And
Yep.
that always, concerns me. So,
Yep.
yeah. And then some other things, we talked about the extension cords and the power strips. Other things, like as we move into summer, like people plugging in their air conditioners and moving things outside, like you might have a fire pit outside, or you're grilling more often. So are those, do you have a higher incidence of calls for fires at that point?
Definitely. Some are human error,
Okay.
where people will, put their fire pit on their wooden back porch.
Oh, yikes.
So, make sure that it's on a non-combustible surface, dirt or gravel, rock,
Yep.
pavers,
And how
concrete.
close to the house should you have, or stay away from the house, should you have a fire pit?
It should be about 10 to 20 feet away.
Okay.
Same with your gas grill.
Okay.
Same thing if you put your gas grill too close to your vinyl siding could catch on fire. It's flammable.
Right. I had that happen to a
so-
friend. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Terrifying.
And same thing, that should also be on a stable surface,
right.
something that's not going to burn.
Yeah. Yeah, and even even if it's not a wood deck, it could be a vinyl deck, and that's
There's
going to melt.
that vinyl
right? Yeah.
decking material.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah, and then you told me that the number one day for fires is what day of the year?
It's Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Because, kitchen fires are the most common cause of house fires.
Okay.
About 50% of house fires are caused by
Wow.
start in the kitchen.
Okay.
And Thanksgiving Day is the biggest
Yeah.
day for kitchen fires.
Right.
So, another thing where you shouldn't do is bring your turkey fryer inside the house.
No.
Do that outside somewhere.
That
where
happened a
it's
few
safe.
years ago. It was a really cold Thanksgiving, and I know a few people that they were frying their turkeys and they brought it into the garage.
Yep.
And they ended up with fires. And also the turkeys weren't defrosted all the way.
Yeah, they need to be completely defrosted.
Yeah. So the water was coming out of, it was defrosting, and then it
Yep,
gets
it
into,
just
mixes with
causes
or doesn't mix with the oil.
Yeah,
and
it
then
just causes it to
that.
bubble right over.
Yikes. Yeah. And then for kitchen fires, so what do you recommend? Like you think about like grease fires, the natural tendency for many people is to throw water on a fire.
Yep.
You never throw water on a
Never
grease
water
fire,
on a
right?
grease fire.
So how would you put out a grease fire?
So you need to take the oxygen away from the fire by smothering it. Either put a pan over if it's a pot with grease in it, then you can put
The
a
on
lid
it? Okay.
over the pan or the pot.
Yeah.
There's also those blankets that we talked about
Those
a little
fire
bit. Fire
blankets,
blankets
yeah.
that you can put
Yeah.
over it. But you want to smother it. You don't want to, water will make it worse. It'll make it spread.
Right.
And talking about the stovetop also, just make sure that there's nothing around the outside of your stovetop close by that could also catch on fire.
Okay.
Pot holders.
Yeah.
I was telling you about a fire that I went to where the person had put groceries down on her flat top stove and then leaned up against the button on the front of the stove and accidentally turned it on and went out to grab more groceries. When she came back, her kitchen was on fire and she lost her whole house.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
But I mean, just a simple thing. I mean, that's maybe a safety feature that it would be better have the knobs on the back of the stove.
Yeah.
But my own stove has that.
Right. And if you have a house and that's what came with, that might be what you're stuck with, and just being more mindful about it, I guess. And I was talking about having you on the show today. We had a book group at the studio this morning, and one of the girls was saying her cat was playing around with the knobs on her stove, and she has a propane stove, and it turned the gas on, didn't light, but do they put scent in propane because it's odorless, right?
Yep.
And so they found out before there was a spark or anything that would have created a fire, but she had to go out and buy some silicone top to put on top of her dial so that the cat couldn't do that anymore.
But propane actually has no smell. They do add that rotten egg smell to it so that you will recognize the smell of it.
Yeah. And then also, what else doesn't have smell? You told me about another thing we should be checking for.
Oh, carbon monoxide.
Right.
Yep,
odorless.
definitely. And you're talking about a
odorless,
gas.
Colorless.
Yep.
Yeah.
The gas stove, they should definitely have a carbon monoxide detector in their house.
Okay.
Any type of fuel that burns, gas, oil, propane.
Yeah.
They should have, or even wood, they should have a carbon monoxide detector in their house.
Yeah. And so would you recommend a hardwired smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector is best, or is like the store-bought plug-in ones, they're okay?
Those are fine. Not everybody can afford the hardwired system in their house and the electrical upgrade. So, like Home Depot, Lowe's, those stores sell, or your local hardware store, sell a smoke carbon monoxide combo.
Yep.
Those are about $60 these days.
Yeah.
And the batteries in those are good for 10 years now.
That's great to know.
So,
That's great to know. Because it used to be, what was the rule of thumb? Every time you changed the time, every 6 months, you changed your batteries, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to do that all the time now unless you have an older unit that uses real batteries.
Yeah, the old batteries.
The old batteries.
9-volt. Yep.
Yeah. And then as far as the smoke detectors, the heat sensors, the carbon monoxide detectors, do you have any tips on those? What people should know about those? How often do you check them? I think you told me a story about someone who they kept setting off when they were cooking, so they covered it.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
That person.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't cover them or take them down because it's a nuisance because of cooking. That's not good.
Yeah.
You should have one close to the cooking area, but not right inside the cooking area. Or you could have, like you said, you have heat detectors in your house.
I have a heat sensor in my kitchen, sensor. And then the smoke detectors around the corner, so it doesn't go off if
less nuisance alarms.
Burn something as much. Yeah.
And have one inside of every sleeping area.
Good to know.
So if you do have an electrician come in and put them in your house, they're going to do it to code, which is inside every sleeping area on every floor.
Yeah.
But the temporary ones are fine also.
Okay.
They work.
And this isn't something that we talked about ahead of time, but do you recommend having a fire extinguisher in the home?
You should have a fire extinguisher in your kitchen.
In the kitchen?
Yep.
Yep. And know how to use it.
And maybe in the basement, depending on what you have in the basement.
Okay.
A furnace, a dryer.
And make sure that it's
and know how to use it.
checked. Yeah, know how to use it. And so they do have to be checked regularly, right?
Yep.
Inspection.
So it does have a gauge on it.
Okay.
And as long as usually the ones inside your house, as long as the gauge is in the green, you're good.
Okay. I know at the studio I have to get them inspected
Yes, you
and tags on them
Yep.
every year. So
your
I'm
local
on
fire
that.
marshal requires that.
Yes, and I am compliant.
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So you said that unattended cooking is the #1 cause of house fires, and Thanksgiving Day is the #1 day for fire. And that's sad for all of you that are working on the holiday, right? Too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It's sad for people to have dangerous things happen on a holiday, especially when it's a gathering and a celebration, gratitude kind of day. Yeah, and so the smoke and the carbon monoxide detectors are so important. And are there common mistakes people make? I know I got my son who lives outside of Boston. I bought him one from like Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. One that plugged in that tested for carbon monoxide because they have a propane stove.
Yep.
And I just want to make sure that they were okay. But it was brand new. We weren't sure how to use it yet. We plugged it in and it just kept beeping, beeping, beeping. So we're trying to like play with that and not get frustrated with it and bring it back. So it can be frustrating to figure out how to use these, but it's so worth it.
Yep.
Because there was a tragedy in Niantic
Yes.
about 20 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was a carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah, a
It was
family
so
that
sad.
died. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carbon monoxide's a colorless, odorless gas, and you're not going to smell it. You can't see it. So.
And our houses are so like sealed up now, where houses used to be drafty and you get more. I mean, the same thing because I'm an asthma educator also, and so like same thing with sick buildings. They call it sick buildings because we have mold growing and we have more stale air because because we're not so drafty since the 70s and the energy crisis. We've tightened things up, so we don't have that draft and the airflow as much. And I feel like that might be part of the air quality and the carbon monoxide buildup is something that I've been a little more concerned about too. So what do we do if a fire happens? We talked about having a plan. You said Edith. Say what Edith means again.
Exit drills in the home.
Exit drills in the home.
That's especially important with kids.
Yeah.
Small kids, and make them practice because, the most orderly evacuations are children in schools because they practice it all the time.
Practice it, yeah.
So, they line up perfectly and go and walk out the door. And so then when a real fire alarm happens, they're comfortable with it because they're doing it all the time.
Right.
So, and having a meeting place is important.
You're not panicking. You're being organized and dealing with a situation. It's a serious and taking it seriously, but having an organized plan and calling 911.
Yes, calling 911, of course.
Yeah. And then another thing that came up when I was talking to just some of my friends recently is things that I wouldn't have thought about, like, and again, the lithium-ion batteries, but they were talking about someone had their wheelchair charging. Fortunately, the person wasn't in the wheelchair, but the charging wheelchair caught on fire. And that could be really terrifying if you were in the chair too, but thankfully they weren't. But that created a lot of like fear in that situation, right?
That's been happening a lot in New York City where their e-bicycles are catching on fire while they're charging in common storage areas.
Oh, wow.
They've had a huge problem with that there.
Okay. So they're charging them like in an enclosed space, like a garage or a basement or something?
Or in a common hallway in apartment buildings or,
Yikes.
So.
Yeah, that's good. And that's not something I would think about. You wouldn't think of your bicycle catching on fire. Right. So you're saying that anything that generates heat, any kind of heat generating thing, batteries that heat up, toasters, convection ovens, those things, always plug them into the wall.
Yes.
Directly into the wall, into a plug that's not burnt, that's not hot, that's not sparking.
A good rule of thumb for a power strip is that anything that can go on your desk can get plugged into a power strip.
Okay.
Like, or a power tap, a lamp, pencil sharpener, your computer peripherals, all of that.
Okay.
You can plug that stuff into a power strip.
Okay. What about your computer?
Your computer, yes, you can plug that into a power strip.
Okay. Yeah. And your phone charger?
Your phone charger, you can plug into a power strip too. Yep.
And not leave it on your bed?
No, don't leave it on your bed.
No. I saw it was like on TikTok I'm not on TikTok. It was probably Instagram or Facebook or whatever. It was a reel, and they were talking about that. Like this guy went to bed with his phone under his pillow because he wanted the alarm, which first of all, there's a lot of electromagnetic frequencies that, it's not great to have your head on all night long, but his whole bed burned and the bed was synthetic.
Yep.
So it was dramatic. It was, it was scarier than you'd think. So if every household did 3 things today to improve their fire safety, what would you recommend?
Definitely for cooking, make sure that your cooking's always attended.
Yes.
Don't leave the cooking unattended.
Okay.
That's a really important one.
Yeah.
Testing smoke detectors
Okay.
is another important one. A lot of house fires, they have smoke detectors that don't work. And what was the third thing that I was going to say? Oh, practice the exit drills.
Yes.
Just so that everybody knows where to go and what to do so that you're prepared if there is an emergency.
Yeah, yeah. And I think to just get out and not go back and get things.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to not do.
Yep.
You want to collect all the things. But I'm glad that you pointed that out because, back in the day, you did have more time. And it's a totally different world now.
Yep.
Different synthetics, different, household.
Unfortunately, that includes pets. You don't want to go back and get pets either.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really hard.
It could cost you your life.
That's really hard. Right. Oh, yikes. And if there's any message you'd like to leave with our viewers for today, I really appreciate you being here and giving us all your wisdom and your great tips because I think it's really important. Like I want to live and feel comfortable in my home and not worry about these things, and being prepared is really important. Yeah. So you said that there was an organization, there was a website that people could get more resources at. What was
the
that?
National Fire Protection Association,
Okay.
which is nfpa.org.
PA.org.
Everything that I just talked about with the lithium-ion batteries.
Okay.
All of that information's on there, and
that's
actually that was last year's fire prevention theme.
Oh, okay.
They have a theme every year, and October is the official fire prevention week, but it's something that should really be practiced all the time.
All the time. Yeah. It is so important. And again, as we go into summer and things start to get outside, and it is fun to have a cookout, and it is fun to have a fire pit to sit around, and you just want to be safe and have a good time and not have to worry about it. So I think these tips are super helpful, and I really appreciate you being on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Of course. So I hope that you've gotten some really great tips today, and that you can take at least one of these little tips and tricks or little pearls of wisdom into your home and just make sure that you are safe and that you have a wonderful, happy summer. And if you are using your fire pit or your grill, that it is safe and that you just stay well. That's the point of the show, right? Be well. So thank you, Heather, so much for being on the show today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Be well.
Wow, that went by fast.
Thank you for joining me on Be Well. I hope today's conversation inspires at least one simple way for you to support yourself. Before you step back into your day, pause and choose one uplifting action you can gift yourself. What's your one thing going to be? Remember, small, consistent steps create meaningful change. Until next time, take a breath, take care, and be well.